The sky of had not been blue for 300 years, stood at the window of the science building and looked up at the dark clouds that never moved. Behind those clouds, their twin suns were dying. Soon, they would give no more light at all. She was tall for a, with silver skin and large dark eyes that could see in very low light. Her people had evolved for a gentle world, a world of soft breezes and warm oceans. Now that world was freezing to death. "The final count is complete," said a voice behind her. Turned to see walking toward her was the keeper of their history, the one who remembered everything their civilization had ever done. She carried a tablet in her thin fingers. "How many?" asked. 2017. That is all who will fit on the ship." 2,000, out of a civilization that once numbered in the billions, closed her eyes and felt the weight of that number. So many would be left behind. So many would die when the cold finally took everything. "The ship is ready," continued. "Finished the navigation systems this morning. Has the cryogenic chambers working at full capacity. We can leave within the week." Nodded slowly, "And our destination?" "The blue planet. Earth, the natives call it. Our probes detected it 60 years ago. It has water, oxygen, and a yellow sun. The gravity is stronger than, but we can adapt." "What do we know about the species living there?" Pulled up information on her tablet. "They call themselves humans. They are young compared to most galactic species, only a few thousand years of civilization, but they are curious and creative. Our probes intercepted their radio signals. They broadcast music, stories, scientific discussions. They seem like a peaceful people." Wanted to believe that. She wanted to believe that somewhere in this cold universe, there was a place that would welcome the last of her kind. But she had seen too much to be completely hopeful. "We have no choice," she said finally. "We go to Earth or we die here." The launch happened 6 days later. The ship was called Endless Dawn, a name chosen by the children who would sleep inside it. Thought it was a beautiful name, full of hope for a future they might never see. She stood in the command center with her 3 companions, sat at the pilot controls, his fingers moving across screens with practiced ease. He was the best pilot on, a calm and steady man who never panicked even in the worst situations. Worked at the engineering station, monitoring the thousands of sleeping in the chambers below. He was young, barely an adult, but his mind was sharper than anyone had ever met. And sat at the communications station, recording everything for future generations. "All systems ready," reported. "We can launch on your command." Looked at the screen showing below them. The planet was gray and white now, covered in ice and dying forests. She had been born there. She had lived her entire life there, and now she would never see it again. "Launch," she said quietly. The endless dawn rose from the surface and climbed toward the stars. Within minutes, became a small ball of gray behind them. Within hours, it was just another point of light in the darkness. The journey would take 5 years. And her companions could not sleep. Someone had to stay awake to guide the ship, to make repairs, to watch for dangers. They took turns resting, but the cryogenic chambers were needed for the 2,000 refugees. The 4 of them would have to survive on their own. In the first year, they passed through empty space, adjusted their course 3 times to avoid asteroid fields, kept the life support systems running perfectly, recorded their progress and studied the information they had about Earth. In the second year, they began to pick up more of Earth's radio signals, spent long hours listening to them, trying to understand the humans better. She heard their music, strange and beautiful sounds that made her feel things she could not explain. She heard their news broadcasts, stories about their daily lives and their problems. She heard their scientists discussing the universe, asking the same questions had asked for thousands of years. "They are so young," said one night as they listened to a human broadcast about space exploration. "They dream of reaching the stars, never knowing that the stars have already reached them." "Do you think they will welcome us?" asked. "I hope so," replied. "We come with nothing but ourselves. We have no weapons, no army. We are refugees seeking shelter. Surely they will understand." But as the years passed, a small fear grew in his heart. The universe was not kind. She had seen civilizations rise and fall. She had heard stories of species that conquered others, that took what they wanted without mercy. What if the humans were like that? What if they reached Earth only to find another enemy? She kept these fears to herself. Her people needed hope. She would give them hope, even if she could not always feel it herself. In the fourth year, they entered a region of space that felt wrong. Noticed it first. "There is debris ahead," he said, his voice tight with concern. "A lot of debris." Moved to stand beside him. On the screen, she could see thousands of objects floating in space. At first, she thought it was an asteroid field, but as they got closer, she saw the truth. It was not asteroids. It was ships. Broken, burned, destroyed ships floating in the darkness like a graveyard. "Those are not human vessels," whispered. "The designs are wrong. Those are ships, and vessels from species I have only read about in ancient texts." Scan the wreckage with trembling fingers. "I am counting at least 12 different species here. Some of these ships are centuries old, others are much newer." Felt her blood run cold. They had been conquerors, a powerful empire that had threatened half the galaxy before they suddenly vanished. They had been warriors without equal. And now their ships floated here, broken and dead, in the outer edges of a solar system that belonged to a species that had not even developed faster than light travel. What could do this? Asked. What could destroy so many powerful fleets? No one answered. They all knew there was only one thing in this solar system that could be responsible. The young, curious, peaceful species that broadcast music and stories into the darkness. The humans stared at the wreckage of 100 invasions and felt her hope flicker like a dying flame. "Something destroyed them," whispered. "Something destroyed all of them." Ahead of them, Earth hung in the darkness like a blue jewel, beautiful and silent and hiding secrets that was suddenly afraid to learn. For 3 days, the endless dawn drifted slowly through the field of broken ships, ordered to keep their speed low. She wanted to study what they had found. She needed to understand what had happened here before they went any closer to Earth. Worked without rest, scanning every piece of wreckage they passed. Searched through their historical archives, matching ship designs to species that had disappeared from galactic records long ago. The more they learned, the more afraid they became. "This is impossible," said on the second day. Her voice was shaking. The Dominion, the Collective, the Iron Swarm, these were some of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. They conquered worlds, they destroyed civilizations, and they all came here. "And they all died here," added quietly. Floated near the observation window, watching the debris drift past. A piece of hull plating spun slowly in the darkness. She could see burn marks on its surface, evidence of weapons fire. But there were also strange patterns she did not recognize, damage that looked like nothing she had ever seen before. "Can you find a ship with intact memory systems?" she asked. "Something that might tell us what happened." The young engineer nodded and returned to his work. It took him several hours, but finally he found something. A command ship, partially destroyed but with its data core still functioning. They brought the core aboard the Endless Dawn and connected it to their systems. The files were corrupted and fragmented, but managed to recover enough to piece together the story. Played the recovered logs. The voice that spoke was harsh and confident. "Day 1 of the invasion. We have entered the solar system of the primitive species called humans. Initial scans show a population of several billion, concentrated on the third planet from their sun. They have no defensive fleet, no orbital weapons, no interstellar capability. This will be an easy harvest." Felt sick harvest. They had come to take humans as slaves. The log continued. Day 2, we have begun our approach to the planet. The humans have detected us and are broadcasting messages. They are asking us our intentions. They are offering peace. Foolish creatures, peace is for the weak. There was a gap in the recording. When it resumed, the voice was different, less confident, confused. Day 3, something is wrong. Our lead ships have stopped responding. Scans show this cannot be correct. The lead ships are gone, not destroyed. Gone, vanished from sensors completely. Another gap. When the voice returned, it was filled with fear. Day 3 continued. The humans have responded to our invasion. We do not understand their weapons. We do not understand their technology. Our shields do nothing. Our armor means nothing. They are not using ships. They are using. We do not know what they are using. It comes from everywhere, from the planet, from space, from angles that should not exist. The recording became broken, filled with static and screaming. Retreat, all ships retreat. They are not. They are not what we thought. They are not primitive. They have been waiting. They have been. The log ended with a sound that would never forget. A sound of something vast and terrible, something that should not exist, reaching out across the darkness of space. Silence filled the command center of the endless dawn. Was the first to speak. We should turn back. Turn back to what? Replied. Is dead. We have nowhere else to go. Then we die here. Better to die trying to run than to fly into the arms of whatever did this. Understood his fear. She felt it herself, but she also knew that was right. They had no choice. Their 2,000 sleeping refugees had no choice. We are not conquerors, she said slowly. We are not invaders. We are refugees, homeless people looking for shelter. Perhaps the humans can tell the difference. Looked up from his console. There is something else in the wreckage, a signal, very faint but repeating. What kind of signal? It is coming from Earth, and it is being broadcast in 6 other languages, the same message over and over. Play it. Pressed a button. A human voice filled the command center. It was calm and clear, speaking perfect despite the fact that humans should not have known that language existed. To any who come in peace, you are welcome. To any who come for war, you have seen what remains of those who tried. We do not wish to fight. We only wish to protect our home. Choose wisely. The message repeated, cycling through languages one by one. When it reached, gasped. The humans knew her language. They had been listening to the galaxy for a very long time. How do they know? Whispered. We have never contacted them. We have never sent ships to this region of space. They have been watching, realized. Listening, learning for centuries, maybe longer. They know about us. They know about everyone. Shook his head. This changes nothing. They are still dangerous, more dangerous than anything we have ever encountered. Or, said quietly, they are exactly what we need. A species powerful enough to protect themselves, and maybe powerful enough to protect us. She made her decision. They would continue toward Earth, but they would approach slowly, carefully, with their weapons offline and their shields down. They would make themselves look as harmless as possible. Because if the humans were predators, they were already dead. But if the humans were protectors, then perhaps there was hope after all. They entered the inner solar system on the 5th day. Earth grew larger on their screens, blue and white and green. It was beautiful, more beautiful than had imagined, and somewhere on that beautiful world something waited for them. A satellite locked onto their ship. Their screens flickered and a message appeared in perfect, not audio, not video, just text appearing directly on their displays as if the humans had reached into their computers without permission. We have been expecting refugees. Please do not be afraid. We know why you are here. We know what happened too. We are sorry for your loss. If you come in peace, we will help you. Slow your approach and prepare for escort to the surface. Read the message 3 times. Then she began to cry. Not from fear, from relief, from exhaustion, from the weight of 5 years of traveling through the darkness, carrying the last hope of her people. The humans knew, they understood, and they were offering help. "Slow our approach," she ordered. "Prepare for escort." Outside the window, small ships began to appear from Earth's orbit. Human vessels, sleek and fast, moving to surround the endless dawn. Not attacking, escorting, protecting. Watch them approach and allowed herself, for the first time in years, to hope. The human escort ships led them through the atmosphere and down toward a mountain range covered in green forests. Had never seen so much green. Plants had been blue and silver. Earth's plants were alive with colors she had no names for. Landed the endless dawn on a wide platform built into the side of a mountain. Through the windows, could see humans waiting for them. Not soldiers with weapons. Not scientists with scanners. Just people, standing quietly with welcoming expressions on their strange, flat faces. "Their faces do not move like ours," observed. "They show emotion differently. I have been studying their broadcasts. When they pull their mouths upward, it means they are happy. They call it smiling." Looked at the waiting humans. Many of them were pulling their mouths upward, smiling. The doors of the endless dawn opened, and stepped onto Earth for the first time. The air was thick and heavy compared to. The gravity pulled at her body, making her feel tired immediately. But the air was also sweet, filled with smells she could not identify. Growing things, living things, a world that was not dying. A human male walked toward her. He was shorter than but much wider, with broad shoulders and thick arms. His skin was a warm brown color, and his eyes were small and dark. He was smiling. "Welcome to Earth," he said in perfect. "My name is, I am the liaison officer for alien refugees. Please do not be afraid, we are here to help." Bowed in the manner. "I am leader of this expedition. We are grateful for your welcome. We did not know what to expect after what we saw in your outer system." Smile faded slightly. "The graveyard, yes. That is something we need to discuss, but not now. Now you need food, rest, and medical care. You have traveled very far. Let us take care of you first." He led them toward a building built into the mountain. Inside, the air was cooler and the lighting was gentle. Human workers moved around them, offering water and soft foods and blankets. They asked questions about biology, about what temperatures were comfortable, about what foods were safe. Had expected many things from the humans: suspicion, fear, caution. She had not expected kindness. A female human approached. Her name tag said, and she introduced herself as a scientist who studied alien life. "Your species requires lower gravity for long-term health," said. "We are preparing special living quarters with gravity adjusters. We have also synthesized foods based on our analysis of biology. Please tell us if anything is wrong. We want you to be comfortable." Stared at her with wide eyes. "You did all this before we arrived." "We have known about your journey for 3 years," replied. "We detected your ship leaving and have been preparing ever since. We knew you were refugees. We knew you would need help." 3 years. The humans had been watching and preparing for 3 years, getting ready to welcome strangers from across the galaxy. Was taken to a medical facility where human doctors examined him gently. Was shown to a room where he could rest. Began talking with about history and culture. And was left with, "You have questions," he said. "I can see it in your eyes. Your people's eyes are very expressive." The graveyard said, "The destroyed ships, 12 species all dead, I need to understand." Led her to a quiet room with large windows looking out over the mountains. He sat down across from her and was silent for a long moment. "They came to conquer us," he said finally. "All of them, the wanted slaves, the wanted resources, the wanted to study us and take apart our bodies. They all looked at humanity and saw something weak, something to exploit. But you were not weak." "No, we were not, we are not," he paused. "I will be honest with you because you deserve the truth. Humanity is a very dangerous species. We evolved on a planet that is, by galactic standards, a death world. Extreme temperatures, poisonous plants, predators everywhere, diseases that should have killed us 1,000 times over. We survived all of it. We became very good at surviving. Listened carefully. She had sensed this. She had felt the hidden strength behind the smiling faces. When the first aliens came to our world, we were not ready for them, continued. They killed millions of us before we learned how to fight back. But we did learn, and we are very good at learning. So you destroyed them. We defended ourselves. There is a difference. His voice was firm but sad. We do not start wars, we never have, but we finish them. Every species that came here with violence was met with violence. We gave them chances to leave. We warned them. They did not listen. And those who come in peace smiled again. They are welcomed as family. That is our law, that is our promise. Peace is rewarded with peace. Violence is answered with destruction. It is that simple. Thought about this for a long time. The humans had built their civilization on a single principle. Do not start fights, but never lose one. A small human appeared at the door. A child, no more than 6 or 7 years old. She had long black hair and curious eyes, and she was holding a piece of paper in her hands. This is, said, she is the daughter of one of our staff members. Walked up to and held out the paper. On it was a drawing made with colored pencils. It showed a silver figure with large eyes standing next to a smaller brown figure. Above them were yellow stars and the words "Welcome to Earth" in both Korean and clumsy. I made this for you, said shyly. My mom helped me write the words. Took the paper with trembling hands. Such a small thing. A child's drawing. But it meant more to her than all the technology and preparations the humans had shown. Thank you, she said. It is beautiful. Smiled widely and ran back to the door, waving as she disappeared down the hallway. Looked at the drawing and felt something break open in her chest. Hope. Real hope. Not the desperate hope of survival, but the warm hope of belonging. Later that night, found standing at a window, looking up at the stars. I have been reading Earth's history, said. They have been visited by hostile aliens for over 2,000 years. Not one hostile species survived contact with them. I know. I asked what humans are. She gave me a strange answer. Paused. She said they are what happens when a species evolves on a death world and chooses to be kind anyway. Thought about in her drawing, about in his honest answers, about in her careful preparations. I believe her, said quietly. I believe them. Outside, the stars shone down on Earth, on the strange and dangerous and kind species that called it home. And somewhere in the mountains, 2,000 slept peacefully for the first time in 5 years, protected by beings they did not yet understand. A week passed on Earth. They were given comfortable rooms with adjusted gravity and specially made food. Human doctors checked on them daily. Teachers came to help them learn human languages and customs. Children brought drawings and gifts. But could not rest. She needed to understand more. She needed to know the full truth about the species that had offered them shelter. She found in his office one morning and asked him directly, I want to see everything, the real history, not the gentle version you show refugees, the truth about what humanity has done. Studied her face for a long moment, then he nodded. You are braver than most who come here. Very few ask to see behind the curtain. Are you sure? My people are trusting you with our lives. I need to know what kind of hands hold our future. He stood up, then follow me. They took an elevator deep underground, far beneath the mountain. The walls changed from natural stone to metal to something did not recognize. Finally, they stepped out into a vast chamber lit by soft blue light. It was a memorial. The walls were covered with names. Thousands and thousands of names, carved into black stone that seemed to absorb the light. Next to the names were dates and images. Human faces, frozen in time. These are the ones we lost, said quietly. Every human who died defending Earth from alien invasion. We remember them all. walked along the wall looking at the faces, old and young, male and female, all different colors and shapes but all carrying the same expression in their eyes: determination, courage, love. "There are so many," she whispered. "The first invasion happened 2,000 years ago. We were not ready. We had no idea that life existed beyond our world. They came with 100 ships and nearly wiped us out. Billions died before we learned how to fight back." "How did you fight back? You had nothing compared to them." Led her to another section of the memorial. Here, the walls showed images instead of names, images of battle, images of destruction, images that makes blood run cold. "Humans evolved on a death world," he said. "Our planet tried to kill us every single day. Earthquakes, volcanoes, diseases, predators, extreme heat and extreme cold. We survived all of it. Our bodies learned to heal from wounds that would kill other species. Our minds learned to adapt to any situation. And our hearts learned to fight for each other with a power that the galaxy has never seen." He stopped in front of a large image. It showed humans fighting warriors in hand-to-hand combat. They were bigger, stronger, better armed. But the humans were winning. Their faces were terrible to see, filled with a rage that went beyond anger. "We discovered something about ourselves during that first invasion," continued. "Something dark. When we fight for our families, for our children, for our future, we become something else. Something that does not stop. Something that does not fear. Something that will use any weapon, any strategy, any sacrifice to protect what we love." Stared at the image. "You are telling me that humans can become monsters?" "Yes, when we have to, when there is no other choice." He turned to face her. They learned this too late. They had conquered 100 worlds before coming to Earth. They had never lost a war. They thought we would be easy. They were wrong. "What happened to them?" "We ended them, not just their invasion fleet, their entire species. We chased them back to there and made sure they could never threaten anyone again." His voice carried no pride, only grief. "We did not want to do it. We begged them to stop. We offered peace 100 times. They refused. They kept coming. They kept killing our children." Felt cold despite the warm air. "You destroyed an entire species." "We did what we had to do to survive, and we have regretted it every day since." Walked to another wall, this one covered with symbols and images from different alien civilizations. Every species that came to Earth with violence met the same fate. Some were destroyed completely. Others were broken so badly that they could never threaten anyone again. We did not enjoy it. We still weep for what we have done. He stopped and looked at with tired eyes. "That is humanity's dark secret. We are capable of love so deep that we will die for strangers. And we are capable of violence so terrible that it has erased species from the galaxy. Both things are true. We carry light and darkness in equal measure." Thought about everything she had seen since arriving on Earth. The kind doctors, the curious children, the welcoming smiles. Could these same people really be capable of such destruction? Then she thought about her own people, about how would fight if someone threatened their children, about the desperate rage she had felt watching die. Maybe she understood better than she wanted to admit. "Why are you telling me this?" she asked. "Because you need to choose," replied. "You need to decide if you can trust a species that carries this darkness inside them. Some refugees hear the truth and cannot stay. They are too afraid of what we might do. We let them go. We never force anyone to stay. And those who stay, they become family. We protect them with the same love we protect our own. No one has ever harmed a refugee under our care. No one ever will." Thought about in her drawing, about in her careful preparations, about the 2,000 sleeping peacefully in human beds, safe for the first time in years. "I think," she said slowly, "that a species capable of such terrible violence who chooses kindness anyway is exactly what my people need. You know what you are. You know what you can do, and you choose to be gentle. That is not weakness. That is the greatest strength I have ever seen." smiled and could see tears in his eyes. "Thank you for understanding." Before could respond, an alarm began to sound. Red lights flashed throughout the memorial chamber, pulled out a communication device, and listened with a growing frown. "What is it?" asked. "A fleet has been detected approaching Earth, 500 warships." His voice was calm but could see his body changing. His shoulders straightened. His eyes grew hard. The kind liaison officer was becoming something else. "The Dominion, slavers, they have destroyed a dozen worlds in the last century. They are coming here. They are demanding our surrender. They want our resources and our people." He looked at with an expression she had seen in the images on the memorial walls. "Go to the shelters with your people. This will not take long, but it will not be pleasant to watch." Wanted to stay. She wanted to see. But she also knew that some things were better left unseen. She had learned enough about humanity's dark secret. She did not need to watch it in action. As she ran toward the elevators, she heard speaking into his communicator. His voice was cold and hard, nothing like the gentle man who had welcomed her to Earth. "This is Defense Command. Activate the grid. Wake the Watchers. Tell them we have guests who need to learn the same lesson as all the others." The elevator doors closed and rose toward the surface, leaving the memorial and its terrible history behind. Above her, in the darkness of space, 500 warships were about to discover why Earth was surrounded by a graveyard of broken fleets. The shelter was deep underground, carved into the heart of the mountain. Found her companions there, along with hundreds of human families. Children played in corners while their parents watched screens showing the sky above Earth. "What is happening?" asked, moving to side. "The Dominion, 500 warships, they have come to conquer Earth." Laughed bitterly. "Then they are already dead, they just do not know it yet." On the screens, the fleet appeared as bright dots moving toward Earth. Their lead ship was broadcasting a message, translated into human language at the bottom of the screen. "People of Earth, you will surrender your planet and your population. Resistance is foolish. We have conquered greater civilizations than yours. You have 1 hour to respond before we begin the cleansing." The humans in the shelter watched silently, expected to see fear on their faces. Instead, she saw something else: sadness, pity, resignation. A human mother held her young son close. "Mommy, are the bad aliens going to hurt us?" the boy asked. "No, baby," she replied. "They cannot hurt us, but some of them are going to be very scared very soon, and I wish they had just gone home." On the screen, Earth's response appeared as text, simple words spoken calmly. "Fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. You are entering protected space. Turn back now and you will not be harmed. This is your only warning. We do not wish to fight. We only wish to protect our home." The commander laughed. His response was broadcast for everyone to hear. "Empty threats from a primitive species. We have 500 warships. You have no visible fleet, no orbital platforms, nothing. Begin the attack." The ships opened fire. Bright beams of energy streaked toward Earth. And then everything changed. Could not understand what she saw on the screens. The human defense grid activated, but it was nothing like the weapons she knew. There were no missiles, no beams, no explosions. Instead, the weapons simply stopped existing meters from Earth's atmosphere. The energy beams bent around the planet like water flowing around a stone and vanished into nothing. "What technology is that?" whispered. "That should be impossible." The humans did not seem surprised. They watched with tired eyes as if they had seen this before. Then Earth responded. Points of light appeared across the planet's surface. Thousands of them. They rose into the sky like fireflies, moving faster than any ship had ever seen. They reached the fleet in seconds. What followed was not a battle, it was a lesson. The lights did not destroy the ships, they disabled them. One by one the warships went dark, weapons failed, engines stopped, shields collapsed. In less than 10 minutes, all 500 ships were drifting helplessly in space. The commander's voice came through the broadcast again. He was no longer laughing. He was screaming. "What is happening? Our systems are dead. We cannot move. We cannot fight. What are you?" Earth's response was calm and quiet. "We are humanity, and you made the same mistake as all the others. You saw our kindness and thought it was weakness. You were wrong. Your ships will be towed to the edge of our solar system and released. You will carry a message back to your leaders. Earth is protected. Do not return." The screens showed human ships approaching the disabled fleet. Small vessels working carefully, towing the warships away from Earth without hurting anyone. The humans could have destroyed them. They could have killed every soldier. Instead, they chose mercy. Looked around the shelter. The human mother was still holding her son. Tears were running down her face. "Why is she crying?" asked quietly. "They won." Had been watching the humans carefully all week. She understood them better than anyone. She is crying because violence was necessary at all. She is crying for the fear the soldiers are feeling right now. She is crying because humans hate to hurt anyone, even enemies who come to enslave them. Thought about the memorial underground. All those names, all those dead. Humanity had lost billions of people defending their world. They had destroyed species that threatened them, and still they wept when they had to fight. The shelter doors opened and walked in. His eyes were red, his face tired. He had been crying too. "It is over," he said. "They are being escorted away. No one was killed on either side." "You could have destroyed them," said. "After everything they have done to other worlds, you could have ended them completely. Why did you show mercy?" Sat down heavily. "Because we are tired of death. Because we know what it feels like to lose everything. Because mercy is not weakness. It is the hardest choice of all." Little ran up too and hugged her leg. The child was crying, not from fear but from the emotion filling the shelter. "I am glad you are safe," said. "I was worried about you." Knelt down and held the child. Such a small thing, such a powerful people. And they worried about refugees from a dying world, even while defending their planet from invasion. A week later, they began waking their people from cryogenic sleep. Stood in the chamber as the first refugees opened their eyes. 2,000, the last of their species, blinking in the soft light of an alien world. The first thing they saw was not. It was human children standing in rows, holding welcome signs. Some signs were written in, the letters clumsy but earnest. Some had drawings of silver figures with large eyes standing next to brown figures with small eyes. Some simply said, "Welcome home." An old woman looked at the children with tears in her eyes. "Where are we?" she asked. Earth replied, "We are home." Stepped forward to address the refugees. She had prepared a speech, but when she opened her mouth, different words came out. "We found Earth expecting shelter," she said. "We found something more. We found a species that carries both darkness and light inside them. They can destroy worlds. They can end civilizations. But they choose kindness. Every day they choose kindness, and they have chosen to share that kindness with us." The refugees listened in silence. Outside, the sun was rising over the mountains. Birds were singing. Earth was waking up to a new day. Stood beside, watching the humans guide the refugees toward their new homes. For the first time in years, he was smiling. "We are home," he said. "I never thought I would feel that way again, but we are home." Looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there they were fleeing back to their territory, carrying news of Earth's power. Somewhere out there, other species were hearing the stories and deciding to stay away. And somewhere out there, more refugees were probably traveling toward this blue planet, hopping for the same welcome they had received. Earth would be ready for them. Earth was always ready. Above the mountains, the human defense grid hung invisible and patient, waiting for the next test. The watchers kept their silent guard, and the strange, dangerous, beautiful species called humanity continued to do what they had always done. They protected, they welcomed, they loved. And they hoped, with all their powerful hearts, that they would never have to fight again. The last line wrote in the historical record summed it up perfectly. We traveled across the galaxy looking for salvation. Instead, we found something better. We found family. Outside, the human children were teaching children how to play their games. Laughter echoed across the mountains, and somewhere in the command center, watched the empty sky and whispered a prayer that had been spoken by humans for 2,000 years. Let there be peace. Please let there be peace. The stars listened, and for now at least they were quiet.